Hey everybody, welcome to this week's live stream. I hope you're all doing great today. So it is Saturday, that means it is time for live streaming. We got a couple things that we're doing today. It's going to be kind of jam-packed. So first and foremost, we're going to be making some more of those hybrid blanks for the Maui Strong Fund. So I got these guys ready. Look at that. We're going to do something a little bit different with these guys. Let's zoom in a little bit. What the heck is that? What is happening? Why? What the heck? Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm like, what? Why is there noise in the background? My phone was hooked up to the speakers. I was like, how is this working? Anyway, so we got something a little bit different going on. I cut some little triangles. I wanted to get a little bit of a different look to the blanks. So you're going to have kind of resin and the wood will hopefully make some interesting shapes once you turn it around. And then these guys are just going to be like chaos, basically. We're just going to pour some resin in there. So we got some wood and we got some blanks. I'm going to pop this back in the oven. I like to heat up my hybrids and definitely for the silicone molds. So that wood came from Ken. Now Ken's on Instagram and he saw the first round of fundraising that we did. And he's like, I got some koa wood. Would you like me to send it to you? And you can use it to raise some more money for Maui Strong. And I was like, okay, sure. Interesting thing about this wood, he was stationed in Hawaii like over 20 years ago and he saved it. He got koa when he was there. And so this koa is, I don't know, old growth or something, It's been around for a while, so it was pretty generous of him. And so I thought, I'm going to sell just blanks, some koa wood blanks. So we got those on the website. For those of you who are on the email list, and I highly recommend join the email newsletter because there are exclusive deals that I do there that I don't even put on Instagram or anywhere else. And these have already gone up there. So I think there's 3 of these guys left. He cut them into blanks and they're a little bit more rough cut than the first round that I did. They're not stabilized. So I thought because of those factors and also, we already raised, hit the goal kind of thing. And we had those blanks pretty high, like $50 a blank. So I thought this round, we're going to lower the price a little bit and hopefully maybe get it open to more people. I know $50 for a pen blank is kind of high, even though it is going to charity. So we're doing $25. So those guys are up on the website. There's that link. And then these ones will go up once, I've cut them up and get pictures and all that kind of stuff. So probably looking at like next week sometime. After we make these. So as usual, think about colors. Super chatters, you guys get to pick some colors. Again, these are, going to Maui Strong. Let me drop a link to the Maui Strong Fund so you can learn a little bit more about it. I liked it because it was pretty much like, out of all the ones that I looked at, this was like, you send us money and it's going directly to the people. It's set up by the Hawaii Community Foundation, I believe is what Hawaii Community Foundation. And that is kind of the overarching, like charity group organization. And then they have little funds for different things. And it's all like kind of local, Hawaiian stuff. This is obviously going to the Maui, the victims of the Maui fires. So 100% of the proceeds from the wood koa blanks and these ones that we make today, 100%, it comes in and I'm just going to, once we've sold them all, basically, I'm just going to drop a donation to them. So it should be pretty cool. Like I said, we've already sold, we had, I think, about 12 of the koa wood blanks and there's only 3 left. So pick those up if you want. I don't have them here. They're koa wood blanks. You can kind of see the picture on the website. So that's what we're doing today first. And then second, once we get those poured, we're going to turn up one of these porcelain blanks. So here's the results from last week. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I almost stopped the stream. We want to do that. Here's the results. And so, I mean, they effectively, they feel and look like normal blanks. They're not like, they don't feel brittle or anything like that. There's a lot of epoxy, or not epoxy, but alumilite in these. The color took on, I mean, obviously it's not like super, pearly. But the mica powder did work with it, so that was one of the tests. And what we're gonna do, I picked one of these guys. I figured this isn't as interesting, the just porcelain ones. We'll figure out if these things work or not using either of them. So I thought, let's go with one of these colorful ones and see what that looks like. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot different. You know, if we just turn one of the straight porcelain ones, I don't think there's going to be any difference in the blanks or anything. So we got that chucked up on the lathe. Now, I will say, these things pretty much destroyed my saw blade. So it cut them fine, but I would definitely put it on the level of if you really loaded up a ton of glow powder. It was at that level. The other thing that I could probably kind of compare it to is the epoxy floor chip stuff. This stuff was super abrasive as well when we put these chips in the blanks. So it's up there. Now, it's not like, I don't think that I would put it up with something like seashells. You know, that stuff just is terrible, but it is like at the upper end of like glow powder. Like for abrasive blanks, it's at the upper end of stuff, but I wouldn't say that it's as difficult as like seashells. That stuff is just absolutely horrible to, to drill, cut, and turn. So I think we're gonna have fun. Definitely, I would highly recommend if you do this, I would use carbide. To be honest, I don't think that this is really worth, I don't know that there's anything special about this except saying they're porcelain. So we'll turn a pen, you know, whatever. We'll see how it turns, but I don't know that I would really recommend messing with this stuff. It's not really, I see no advantage whatsoever to it. I don't know. So it'll be fun. Now, I have a couple other little quick announcements. I'm gonna shamelessly plug things. I just dropped my newest, this is a redesign kind of thing. So if you're familiar with my blanks that I've had for many years, I had a root beer float blank. And so let's get this thing to, so I reinvented them basically, and these are highly similar to the original, but they're poured vertically, so you get, you know, round blanks, plus now there's the kitless length in these. And like I said, I've said this a lot of times, I was trying to kind of improve efficiency and also be able to cast longer blanks. So I'm pouring most of the color swirl. Now the Team Color blanks, that's made with Alumilite white resin. And so on my website, Team Color blanks, those are Alumilite white, not clear. And they're, you know, separate. They're going to be square, you know, all of them anyway. All the other ones though, and I'm highly expanding this line because I want to start, you know, making a lot more kitless blanks, and I want to expand basically there's like kind of color swirls and different stuff like that. But anyway, I just poured, I actually ran out. So we did a little promotion on the email newsletter, and they literally sold me out on, on these things. So I got more poured, but I'm really happy. You know, I got to be honest, I'm really actually getting more consistent, and I would consider these better, I would say, results pouring these blanks vertically. You get a slightly different look with vertical, but for many years I was always like, oh, it's totally different, and it's just kind of, I didn't really know exactly what you could do vertically because I didn't really have a lot of experience. I got to be honest, vertical pour is a really good way to go. I really like it. So that's kind of the story on those. So those are available on the website. Root beer float blanks, the new version 2.0. Like I said, really they're pretty similar. I didn't really alter the look. It's just they're round now for the most part. So those are up on the website. And then one other thing real quick, shameless plugs. Just got to let you guys know what's available. We also have another Happy Fun Cup. We filled one up. So there's that link. So we got another guy, and this one's going to be pretty cool too. So if you want to make like a little pen cup, or if you want to make a jar or lidded box or whatever you want to do with it, And these are cheap. They're only 20 bucks. So there's one of those available on the website. Lots of products, guys. We're just expanding blanks. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff here. I still have a few more of my old designs that I need to kind of convert, let's say, to vertical. So those will be coming as I get them. Now there is a little bit of a difference. You do need to kind of, it takes me a little bit of time to kind of get things to where I'm like, I'm really happy with this design. Many things are pretty similar. But some of the blanks kind of require different colors or, you know, whatever. Actually, a couple blanks are actually made with Alumilite white that I don't want to use those. I really want to separate. If you're buying a team color blank, those are Alumilite white. That was one of my missions switching the new website, was to really separate those two. So these are listed under what's called special editions. I'm going to be kind of changing that name sometime. I just need to kind of settle on what I want to do. But that's what we got going on. So let's see here. Do we have any super chatters? We're going to do the resin casting part first. The Koa hybrids. So if you want to super chat, if you want to pick some colors for these guys, drop some super chats. I'm going to put these ceramic blanks out of my way. Get everything cleared, get my watch off so I don't get Alumilite caked on it. And the pen that I'm going to be making, just to let you guys know, out of one of these ceramic blanks is the Virage. And I'll try to kind of show you, it's kind of hard to look at pen parts and get a really good idea of what's going on. But so it's like a Sierra. It's the same tube and everything, same drill bit. But you got a little bit of a different you know, like nib section thing. Pretty cool looking. You get a little bit of curvature going on. And then the clip, again, you kind of have a little concave kind of clip thing going on. But it adds a little bit, you know, compared to the Sierra, it adds a little bit of curvature and just some different lines, I guess. So it's a pretty cool kit. I got these guys at Turner's Warehouse, of course. Let's see here. Let me go get a link to that. I forgot. That's the one thing I forgot to do. Maybe they don't have them. Might not have them anymore. Well, that's where I got it, but I don't know. I guess I can't get a link. I'm not sure if I can find it or not, if they are carrying them or not. So I'll look later and I'll add that to the description of this video if I can find it. But I couldn't find it. So we got, let's see, we got emerald green, gold, and blurple. That's a good one. We haven't seen the blurple in these guys yet. That'll be fun. All right, so let me get these pen parts out of the way also because I don't want to get them all sticky. The Virage is a little bit different, so make sure to stick around and watch the assembly. There's like more parts than you think should be should be there, kind of thing. And I'll show you. It's easy to put together, but you may get a little bit confused if you don't have instructions in front of you. Oh, I almost lost the spring. Put that over there. All right, we got emerald, gold, and blurple. That'll be pretty cool. I like those colors. Let me get some gloves on. Let's see. Let me stop and see who's here. Paul's back. I saw that. Tied on cash. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll up. Let's see. Mike was here first. And Kim, nice. And Philip, I saw you were working on a bench. That's cool. I really need to... I would like to rearrange or, I don't know, slightly change up some of the stuff in here. I'd really like to have a 3D printing like station kind of thing, which would require me to build some sort of a, doesn't need to be like a bench, but I mean like a table, bench, whatever. But it's tough because I don't have a very good, well, I don't really have a space for it unless I kind of got rid of some things or really move things around. It's always tough. And I don't have a vision of like what I want this space to look like. So when I don't know what I want to do, I mean, this seems kind of obvious. If I don't have a clear vision of what I want to do for something, I usually just don't even start because it's just tough to, Sometimes I'll just kind of try things out. That works too, but I like to have kind of like, what do I want out of this thing and why am I changing it? But when it takes money and time, then it's like, I better understand what's actually happening. Nice. Oh, you got some hot weather. Is that over in the UK? We're actually, this year has been pretty nice here. The summer wasn't terrible. I know that it's like record heat and all, and everybody else was under like heat domes and everything. For some reason, we had a ridiculously good winter. I mean, it was actually kind of almost to the point where it was bad. But the spring was like absolutely perfect, the whole spring. And then the summer was warm, but it never really got that hot. I didn't feel like it was that hot here. And then it's been pretty reasonable here again. So I don't know, maybe we're in for it we're either getting no winter at all or it's going to be terrible again. Let's see here. Oh, is Chad here too? Oh, nice. Day off? Oh, man. What is that? Okay, so I'm just scrolling through, making sure I'm not missing anything. Ah, Mark's trying to pick a good pen for the Koa hybrid. Nice. I can't wait to see it. Did you guys see the first one? I've only seen one so far. That was Homer Lex in the chat. That's a screen name. Oh, Amy's now on as you. Nice. Yeah, the TV. Is it good picture? I never know about that. I never watch anything on my TV on YouTube. I'm a computer kind of guy. Oh, Mike, thanks. Awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of my blanks, like I have a mint chip. That's actually one that's being very difficult to convert because it was an Alumilite white thing and the dyes just aren't working the same. It's not looking the same. But I have a mint chip, so I have all these ice cream ones and I like food. Nice. Nice. Yeah, you got one of them coming. Let's see here. Okay, sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling. Oh no, what happened? I just lost something. Oh, there's Homer Lex. Nice. Nice. Okay, I think, nice. Obble Creek. What's up, Mark? How's it going, man? Okay, so let's get started on the casting. I just wanted to kind of quickly see who was here, see if I missed anything, all that kind of good stuff. Let's switch to the Sony. We'll zoom out a little bit. So we got 3 colors. Let me get my little book out. Yeah, here we go. I think I'm out of order. I think I found some pages that yeah, I knew it. Okay, so we're out of order, but that's okay. What's the date? 9/9. And we're doing Koa hybrids 2. Maui Strong. All right, so let's see here. We're doing, again, it's kind of difficult to figure out how much resin if you're doing, hybrids and stuff like that, especially these are like all weird angles. So I think that mold takes probably about 500 grams or something like that. I always do this. How much was each slot? I want to say it's like 85 times 5. Maybe 90 times 5. Yeah, that sounds a little bit more right. So like somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere between 400 and 500 grams, I think, if you wanted to just fill that entire mold. But we got quite a bit of wood in there, but we also have a fun cup that we have to start. So let's go with, I think we can get away with, this is probably going to be, yeah, that's going to be way over probably. Yeah, it's fine. Let's go with 350 grams. That's probably going to be way over, but it's not a big deal. And we got, let's see, emerald green, gold, and blurple. So let's see here. Gold. Emerald green, gold, and blurple. I'm just trying to think of what I have here. Blurple's obvious. Let's go with we'll do 125, 125, and whatever's left there, 250. Yeah. 100. We will do, let's do blurple at 125 grams. We'll do, what's the other one? We'll do emerald green, and then we'll do a little bit of gold. All right, so emerald green, I think our best bet on that. I have emerald green from Eye Candy. Let's do, I don't think we did, let me see if I can find what we did last time. Koa hybrids. Yeah, we did Eye Candy, emerald green. So let's do spring green. It's pretty much like an emerald green, but it's a little bit different. A little bit, maybe a little bit lighter, but pretty close. And that's a P-Town subby. Let's drop in a half teaspoon in there. Blurple is my blue to purple color shift powder. And then I add just a drop of purple dye. So we'll go with, yeah, we'll do the same thing. Half teaspoon plus 1 drop of violet Alumilite dye. And then for gold, let's see. I was trying to think if there's a good one that we could put in there. Gold. We could change it up a little bit maybe, or do something kind of cool. You know, one thing we could do, we could add, let's go with Olympic gold. And let's go with some gold glitter. I got some of that tinsel glitter stuff. I think somewhere. Yeah. Let's see if I have. Yeah, look at that. What do you guys think about that? Add a little bit of tinsel glitter in with the gold. See how that goes. We haven't done that. Okay, just checking to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so gold glitter, so we'll just put like a scoop or whatever in there. And then for the Olympic gold, we'll add, let's try a 1/4 teaspoon, that's probably plenty. That might be a little bit see-through, but it's not, you know, like gold being see-through with like if you're doing like a tube, that's not particularly problematic. Like, you'll just see gold, you know, like the brass tube is just going to actually reinforce it. Unless it was super see-through, you know, at that point, then you might see glue splotches. But just for, you know, some translucence, some thin areas, let's say, you don't really need to worry if you're thinking about tubes. And then if you were doing like if somebody made a kitless pen out of this, it doesn't really matter. And it's not going to be transparent for you know, like diamond painting pens and stuff like that. I think it's going to be fine anyway, though. All right, so we got our cup. Let's get, let's see, we're going with the Lumilite Clear. So we need 175 times 2. We're kind of in that transition period in the shop. Somebody emailed me and was like, "Hey, you should probably put air conditioning. Have you?" I would recommend putting air conditioning in your shop, and I'm like, "Yeah, that would be great." The transition period is actually the problem. It's not so much that the summer, like once it stabilizes, things are fine. It's kind of that in the middle where you're like, like, what do I do with this? So you're constantly kind of having to adjust, and it's difficult because it's not like, you know, oh, well, if it's, you know, 3 degrees cooler or 5 or whatever, I need to drop the pouring, you know, when we pour it temperature. So there's a little bit of kind of playing around. You get that's why it's really important to kind of look at the consistency. If you've got stuff down, if you've got a temperature, you know, at like a certain level, so the resin temperature before you poured it to keep the colors from swirling. That's what we're talking about, you know. So you'll take the temperature of the resin, and if you've got that dialed in for a certain temperature in your shop, it's really good to kind of understand what is the consistency. That way it'll help you when it's not, you know, when changes happen, when fluctuations occur. Let's see here, 175. Part B, well, that's pretty, I didn't think about this too much. Oh, I went way over. I was thinking, oh, this is not going super awesome yet. 175 minus 189. Okay, so I need to, I messed that up totally. That's what I get for thinking. So I need to add a little bit of part A back in so that we get this evened out. Okay. I have no clue how much resin we have total now, but 28 grams more than we needed. We're okay. No problems, guys. We're on top of things. So we're going to mix this guy up. So just in case anybody didn't understand what just happened, I added too much part B. I went way over. I went 14 grams over. And so I added 14 more grams of the part A. So that's one of the advantages to a 1-to-1 mix ratio. You know, if you go over, if you screw up like that, you know, on that second pour, it's very simple to even it out. Now, if this was a 2-to-1, then you're like, you know, you got to do a little bit of math, and things may get a little bit kind of funky. I say stay away from math as much as you can. Will screw you up every time. Should have had a bigger cup. This is just a little bit too much resin. That's okay. I'll just have to stir a little bit softer. Yeah, so the temperatures have dropped a little bit. So like right now it's 76 in the shop, which it would have been probably like 82. And I know that doesn't sound like a big swing, but it really does affect when I'm going to pour. It's going to change the temperatures. So, all right, so we need 125 in that one. You don't have to be all super specific necessarily. It helps if you want to be, if you want to kind of like recreate stuff, but in the end, you know, 125, 150 grams, like I don't know that, you know, slight changes from 125 grams exactly is really going to make a big difference in the end result. You're going to be pouring it over, you know, a bunch of different blanks, and so you're going to have different things going on, especially when you're like pouring singles like this. Where it comes into play, where it's important to have specific numbers and all that kind of stuff is if you have like, if you're trying to make a specific dye color where you're putting different colors of dyes and all that stuff, so you're basically building a recipe, you kind of, oftentimes you may need to know how much resin you have, and you better be very accurate with your, you know, how much dye you're putting in. That's where things get important. But for micas, it's not nearly as important to have things, you know, super specific. I think the only thing that I would say would warrant, you know, being pretty specific with micas is, you know, if you don't put enough in, then you may see, so let's say that, you know, a half teaspoon in 100 grams, you know that you're not going to see the tube or something like that, right? Or it's the right effect. It's enough mica powder in the resulting blanks. If you only put a quarter teaspoon or so in, that may affect it to where it's kind of see-through, or just not as bold. That's the only area I think with micas that, because the colors are really not going to change unless, and once again, if you're mixing, you know, two different colors of micas to get a specific color, then that might be an area where things need to be pretty specific again. But don't worry, don't sweat the small stuff so much. I'm just kind of, I just like to repeat things since I'm selling blanks, so this is kind of my default. This is the comfort zone for me. So we're doing, yeah. Gold is going to be a quarter teaspoon, and that's going in this one. Okay. And then we need some blurple. We're going to put that in right here. And a half teaspoon of that. Okay, gold, green, blurple. While the clock was ticking, the resin was heating. Yeah, I'm not that worried about the timing on these. Like I said, the temperature's a little lower in the shop, so. Yeah, resin kind of all over this stick and it's slippery. See if that can kind of fix it a little bit. You gotta wait for the resin to heat up anyway, so got a little bit of time here. And I think I'm probably gonna go, so it's 76 in my shop, probably wait till about 110 maybe. I don't know. What did we do last time? Let's see, that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know if I wrote that down. I think I did. So it was 80 degrees last time, and we waited till, let's see here. Wait, is that right? Yeah. We waited till like 120, and that was a little bit too long. It was pretty close. So like and then we did 112 on the singles, which I think we could have maybe gone to like 115 on those. So I think, I don't know, 105 to 110, somewhere in there. Come on, break up. Put a little bit of gold glitter in there. Let's see what this looks like. That's going to be kind of fun. I don't know if I've done this or not. It's been a while. I'm just going to wing it. I don't, you know, that's probably fine. If I feel like we need to add more, we can, but I think that's, yeah. Because we have so much mica powder, we're going to need a little bit more to have more of this stuff kind of show up. And you could like try and figure out teaspoons and stuff if you're going for very specific things and results. There we go. So it just adds a little bit of shimmer into the gold. But it's definitely, I don't think you're going to be seeing through even to see the tube. Probably could have gone even with like an 1/8 teaspoon. Got a little bit of transparency in there, translucence. And you might have seen, so that's one of the things. You might see the glitter a little bit better if you reduce the amount of mica powder that's in there. Let's see where we're at temperature-wise. Should be getting fairly close. 97. We need to add a drop of violet to the blurple here. So you guys see this. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a milky white, and you get kind of a, it's definitely, there is a little bit of blue to purple going on in there that you can see depending on how the light hits it, but I like to add just, and you don't even need much, just a little tiny drop of violet dye. And it transforms this into magic. Look at that. Oh my God. And that's why I love the blurple. All right. Yeah, so that's still just a little bit thin for me. I also find like the more mica you put in, the more, I don't know, chunky it feels, which I think actually does help kind of keep your colors separated a little bit more. It's because it's not really like the temperature. It doesn't, the resin, it doesn't matter what temperature it is. That has nothing to do with the bleeding. It's actually more really the viscosity. But we measure, you can kind of get a fairly consistent reading of the viscosity as long as the ambient temperature isn't changing. You can get a pretty good, you know, repeatable idea of what the viscosity is based on what the temperature is of the resin. So we're at like 104, 105. That's starting to look pretty good. That's looking pretty good. So like 10, let's just go to like 107. We're pretty much almost there. Let's do this. Let me get my little stand. It's just easier for me to get underneath. And then I got a little rack as well. Let's get these guys so you can kind of see the pour going on. Zoom in a little bit. Ooh, should be fun. Okay, so I think we're good. And I'm just going to kind of do it this way. We've got plenty of resin, so I'm not worried about, you know, like some of this excess that I'm just kind of dumping on the tops of the mold. Oh, I grabbed it by the sticky part. All right, we're almost there. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more blurple over here. Those guys are good. I think we're at the level on each one of these guys. Just add maybe just a little bit more. This is really just kind of filling it. I'm not worried about the mix. Okay, so I think that's good. Just kind of did kind of random pouring there. I wasn't going for anything specific. So we'll get this on the rack. We got plenty of leftovers. So let's see here. I'm going to switch over to the intro view. You can kind of see this going into the pressure pot. It just fits. Okay. We got lots left over for, I mean, really we could do all kinds of stuff with the leftovers, but I think we'll have to make, maybe there's a lot of leftover. You know, I don't want to mess with this. Okay. We got that one in. Let's switch back to the Sony cam. I don't know if I want to pour all of this into the Happy Fun Cup because it's just going to be a lot of that. We'll see. We'll see how far this goes. I'm going to do kind of, do it like this. I'm going to make kind of, I don't know what that's called, but we're going to do it. Make little layers. This is going to be a crazy fun cup. Gotta stay in order here. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Yeah, we got a little bit more blurple. There we go. Okay. So that's going to be a wild fun cup, guys. Do a little bit of cleanup here. Save our sticks. Lose our cups. I'm going to clean up some of this stuff on the desk because we're going to be assembling a pen here later. And I don't really want to be sticking it in resin. So do a little bit of cleanup. I usually put those mats down, but I didn't think about it. Okay, we're all clean. I like to give the sticks just a little bit of acetone just to kind of make sure they're not sticky and building up a bunch of resin on them. And then we'll go and turn a ceramic, or not ceramic, I always want to call it ceramic, a porcelain pen. I have a feeling that's going to destroy the carbide bit. Probably be replacing that today. afterwards. All right, so let's see what's going on in the comments before we get to turning. Those are going to be pretty cool, I think. I'm pretty excited about that. So those will go up on the website. I got to get them cut either tomorrow or Monday, and then they'll go up. I got to get pictures and then put them up on the website. Yeah, the sticks, I know, it works pretty good though. You know, I don't know why I never thought about this. I guess one of the things is I get done and a lot of times I'm using Alumilite white, and at that point stuff is just drying a lot of times. And so I just, you know, with the wood sticks, I would just toss them. But the problem is I like to cut all the popsicle sticks flat. I don't like stirring the bottom of a cup with this because you're not able to scrape, you know, as effectively. So I cut them all. Well, you're constantly going through them, and it takes time to cut them, and that's just silly. So I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could clean them up. All right, so let me scroll up and see. Ocean purple with copper, nice. Sweet. Let's see here. I'm just rolling through. What is in that bottle? It's acetone. You can use acetone, or you could use like a denatured alcohol. Alcohol is probably a little bit less. I mean, you don't really want any of this stuff on your fingers, so you always want to be wearing gloves. But I like acetone because it dries the fastest. So I usually use that for cleanup. When we're dealing with resins. Alcohol will work as well if you have that in the shop. I think even like isopropyl alcohol. Like I said, I think acetone kind of works faster, it seems. I don't know. So I just always have that stuff. I use it for a lot of other things in the shop too. All right, so let's see here. Let's head over to the lathe. Get this thing going. So again, so last week, if you missed it, we made these blanks and we added porcelain powder that I found on Alumilite's website, and I was like, all right, let's try it out. I honestly, I've probably had it for like years, and I just, you know, never really needed it. Now, one thing I do want to say is, you know, this porcelain stuff, I think that it would be better for making like a figurine. I mean, that's really what it was intended for, but it's super abrasive. So I don't think you're going to have any fun trying to turn this with a normal high-speed steel cutter. You know, like your traditional kind of high-speed steel turning tools. I think you're going to be sharpening more than you're turning. So I need to actually, let's see here, figure out what I want to do. I have another, I do, okay. All right, let me get my glasses on. Get this thing started and let's go. So and this is a standard cutter. We're gonna try that first, see how it goes. So it's working pretty good. All right. So I wanted to start with a standard cutter just to kind of see how that went. I'm actually going to mark this cutter because I have a feeling that this thing is much more dull. And I just want to have a little bit of a reminder. We're going to swap out for a negative rake and see how that goes. If there's any difference. Now it's turning fine. There's effectively, I can't feel, there's no difference. You know, that porcelain powder is not causing me to think it's like a porcelain pen blank, you know. It just feels like a normal blank. If anything, it feels like, you know, maybe there's glow powder or something in there. So let's put on a negative rake. Let's see how this goes. I don't think it's going to be any different, really. Yeah, it's cutting just fine. Alright, so let's stop and see what this thing's looking like on the inside. We just kind of blobbed it. We weren't really going for like anything in particular. Is that showing up? Can't see the screen. Let me turn the light down just a little bit. I think it's kind of blown out. I'm gonna go look on my computer and see what you guys are seeing. Still a little bit bright, huh? Oh, not bad. All right, so I mean everything's going fine. I wasn't expecting this thing to blow up. It is interesting. It's got a, you know, it feels rough, like it is like a ceramic or, you know, like something. It kind of has that feel right now. I don't know. It's interesting. One other thing that I kind of noticed is the blanks felt somewhat cooler to the touch, I think, than like a typical blank. Yeah, I just picked up another one of my blanks, and they feel cooler to the touch. So again, I really don't know that this is all. I don't know if you ran into an issue where porcelain was like the novelty of having porcelain in your blank was really worth it. I'd say maybe, you know. But other than that, I don't know that this is really super worth it. Polishing this is going to be an interesting thing too. We'll have to kind of see how that goes. They might kind of require, you know, putting a top coat finish on to get it like really polished. Could you use it as a sharpening stone? Yeah, I don't know. It does feel kind of like pumice, I guess, yeah, or something like that, yeah. I don't know. Problem is, it's not flat, you know, but you could maybe make like a shape. That would be interesting. Sharpening blanks. It could be a thing. One thing that I do also want to bring up, I don't know about, you know, I don't think it's toxic, but I don't know about the dust. Now, I got extremely good dust collection. I'm not really worried about it, not wearing a mask, but you might want to pull your dust mask out if you're turning something like this. There are some other materials that would be like a powder form, you know, like this, that you definitely do want to wear a mask. So, like I said, I'm not that worried because I have a downdraft on the back end, and then I got this thing really pulls all the dust out of my face, even the fine stuff. So, but just be aware of that. Yeah, that's feeling pretty good. Looks pretty decent. Let's stop it and see how we're doing on the ends on the bushings here. A little bit of a lip there. This one's pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of a cut. Still got to do a little bit more shaping here. Okay. Oh yeah, out of your eyes too. You might even want to wear goggles. You know, one of the dusts that comes to mind is like that seashell. You know, if you're doing seashells, you really don't want to be breathing the dust when you're cutting it and doing all that stuff. That stuff I know is extremely bad for you. So I would imagine, you know, I mean, think about it, it's abrasive dust. Basically, you don't want that in your lungs. Not going to be a good thing. So let's see how sanding goes, because I haven't really sanded. I think I'm going to start at 240 today. Might even jump up to 180, because I really don't want to pull out. A lot of times I'll pull out the square radius bit, but frankly I don't want to jack up another another edge. That went fine, but I think when I switch back to you know, normal resin, I think it's going to feel dull. Let me get this thing a little bit closer. Not that close. Make sure that we got this thing going. And I think I'm going to crank up. I got some of my other vents cracked, so we're going to give it full blast so I don't have ceramic dust in my lungs and eyes. Yeah, deer antlers really bad too. I mean, realistically, no dust is good for you. So, you know. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Like I said, the texture, it feels, it's interesting. You know, it doesn't feel like plastic, that's for sure. All right, let's get you guys around to the front here. A little bit cockeyed, but that's okay. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. It's smooth. I'm gonna, let's see, did I get rid of that 240? Well, we'll just move up to 400 real quick. I'm gonna start by going this way. Camera having trouble focusing. So I don't think that I'm actually seeing any. I kind of took a little bit of a shortcut there. I don't know if denatured alcohol is going to cause any problems with the porcelain powder or not. So let's try that. Didn't really seem to do anything to it. Okay. So, I mean, it's looking fine. It is definitely interesting. You know, obviously the mica is not doing a whole lot of anything. It's just a colorant at this point. But it might pop a little bit of pearl when we get to the end. Once we actually get it kind of glossy. So let's see. I think it will polish. I don't really, I mean, it's very smooth. So, you know, I think we can get it polished. I don't know how polished it's going to be. You know, I guess that might actually be the thing. I don't think that you need to put a finish on it, but if you wanted it to be actually glossy, you may need to, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, it's still cool. I mean, it's, yeah, cooler than a normal blank would be. My headstock heats up a little bit. So, you know, with sanding and all that kind of stuff, there's stuff going on, I guess, but it does feel cooler to the touch than I would have expected. Just a little bit. I mean, it's not like it's like cold, but I don't know. I could actually take the temperature of those blanks at like room temperature and compare it, do something a little bit more scientific than I think it feels like. You know? We'll see what those results, if I just think it is, if it's like a mind thing, or they really are cooler. True stone. I have not turned true stone, but yeah, I guess that's another one. Is it's similar to what I have turned. I'm pretty sure is what is that stuff? The stuff that counters are made out of. Because like true stone, I mean, it would definitely be similar to that because it's the same thing. It just depends on which stone is mixed in, because that's just stone dust, you know, different types of stone dust mixed with resin, and which is kind of similar to the, what is that countertop stuff? I can't think of the word. Similar to that. That stuff's super abrasive too. Corian, yeah, yep. Because that's kind of, you know, again, kind of similar. I don't think that Corian is made with actual stone, but it's the stone look is basically like a polyester resin kind of thing. That's almost more like those flakes, the epoxy floor chips. It's kind of the same thing, and for some reason that stuff is just abrasive. Might have something to do with what's in it. I don't know. Because I mean, it turned fine. There was no, you know, I would say it's a little bit more sluggish feeling. It's also going to just destroy your drill bit. So, you know, I'm a little bit annoyed at that. I just replaced my 27/64 with I just bought a new one, and I'm pretty sure that it's toast. Now, drill bits are fine. You can sharpen them. You know, saw blades you can sharpen. If you're using standard carbide, not the negative rake, you know, you can kind of give those, touch up the edges. You're never going to get it the same as it was out of the package, but you can, you know, if you got the diamond stone set up and all that, you can get them pretty good. Renew life, as long as there's no chips or weird things on the edges. And of course, high-speed steel, but I think high-speed steel, you would be doing a lot of sharpening. I'm giving this a good once over with the green here, just to make sure we've gotten any of the scratches out. I really, you know, because if you leave scratches in, that's like if you're having problems getting your blanks glossy, if they look dull kind of, that means that you've got scratches in there and it's refracting the light. So you might want to, you know, put it back on the lathe and do a little bit more sanding with some of the lower grits. Basically what I'm saying is if I don't do a very good job sanding this, then it'll kind of skew the results whether it gets glossy or not. And I got a little bit of a tip, a trick, I don't know, something to share with the magic juice application. I don't know if somebody mentioned this. I want to say that I just kind of was like, oh, what about these? One of the problems I've been having is, you know, we use paper towels and to apply the magic juice, but paper towels are pretty abrasive. And so I've been kind of trying to find an alternative that's softer. And, you know, the first thought that comes to mind is like microfiber, but those things don't rip. So if you're using a larger piece and it got caught on your lathe, yeah, it can be dangerous. So, you know, and same thing, you don't want to be using like a cotton rag or any of that stuff. So I came up with an idea, and we'll get to it in a second. We'll share it. I think it's working. I gave it a spin. Seemed to work okay. All right, so we're moving on to the gray. Yeah, you could do tube in. That would make it easier. You wouldn't have to, you know. Just depends on what you're doing, you know, I guess. But yeah, that definitely does make it easier. Yeah. I don't know, does Corian hold threads very well? It's kind of brittle, isn't it? I'm sure it's doable, but I'm not sure if it might be a little bit problematic. I haven't turned a lot of it. I don't like abrasive stuff. It's a pain. Yeah, I use Scott also, but even those are not. I don't think that they're non-abrasive, and so when you're getting up to that like sub 1 micron, you know, like the highest levels, I don't know. They're soft, yeah, because the feel test for me on those, like if you're sick or you have allergies or something like that, like I was using just like the what are the ones that I use? Not Brawny, but you know, whatever, just the normal paper towel, Bounty. Or no, not Bounty. Is it Bounty? Yeah, Bounty, I think. Your nose will just get raw, and so I switched to using the Scott, the blue ones. However, even those are somewhat abrasive, so trying to find a good idea that won't rip your finger off if it for some reason got wrapped up or whatever. Now you could use like a really small piece of microfiber, and I believe that these guys, the scrub things, that's a microfiber, and I'm pretty sure it's non-abrasive. But I didn't love that stuff. It just kind of went straight through it. It felt like. I don't know. Another thing is you could actually probably just use your finger or like a glove, you know, like a nitrile glove on a finger, or just your finger, because your fingers are non-abrasive. So that is one thing that you probably could do. But let me show you what I came up with. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. I guess we're zoomed out. So, what do you think about cotton round little makeup remover things? They come in a convenient application. They rip, no problem. Now the one thing is they do rip fairly easily, and they can have, you know, this lint. But if you don't get super crazy with it, then you really shouldn't have too many problems. So let's see, I only did this the highest levels as like a little bit of a test, so we're kind of testing as we go. We're going to start with step 1 here. Get the speed going a little bit more. Not that high. There we go. Give it a shake. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't see... It's one of those things. I mean, we're kind of splitting hairs a little bit. However, you know, it's kind of just like, the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, you might find a solution that's not expensive or weird or, you know, that's totally doable. Yeah, this one, I don't know about this. This is kind of pulling on it a little bit. Kind of... You might want to just use like regular paper towels at the lower ends. Well, I mean, I don't know, it's staying together. Did seem a little bit kind of like it was ripping it apart. That's the tough thing, is I don't know, you know, what grit is paper towel. How abrasive is it compared to these polishes? Because frankly, I don't even know what the like abrasiveness, the grit level is for any of these, you know, magic juice things. But I mean, that worked. That was okay. And I really feel like this is really not abrasive. Now, the other thing is there are some that say lint free, and I would have dropped a link to Amazon because Amazon sells a pack. These are the Target ones. So that, you know, that's what I'm using today is the Target brand, the Up and Up. I was like, hey Gretchen, do you have any of those face things? She's like, why? I was like, cause I want to polish my pens with them. So, you know, I think these are like the low end. They don't say like lint free or any of that stuff. The thing is, the lint free ones may not tear, and that's not necessarily helping our problem, because what I'm trying to find is a solution that I could, you know, recommend to people that is not going to rip your finger off. If now this number 2, it tends to like grab really bad. That's not doing too bad. That worked. It is kind of fraying. You can kind of see it fuzzing up a little bit. I mean, that worked. It didn't rip apart. I'll flip it over now. I don't know. Seems to be working. So I just wanted to warn you that there are some that are lint free. I have no clue what those are. That's not what I'm using today. So just be careful if that's what you end up picking up. I ordered some though today actually. So I will give those a shot and see like if they're a little bit more resilient but still would rip if it got caught up for some reason. I think that would probably be the way to go. But I also bought the Amazon brand because those things seemed pretty cheap. I don't know what these Target ones cost because I didn't, you know, I just stole these from my wife, basically. It definitely is polishing up. So I don't really think that's a problem. I'll flip it over. How glossy it's going to get in the end, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so on to step 4. The only thing is, you know, you're going to run through these and they're definitely more expensive than a paper towel. So, you know, it's just one of those, you'll have to kind of think about how, you know, is it really a big deal to use the blue ones? Because I think the blue, I've done the whole pen, or I mean every step with the blue towels, and I don't really see a huge problem, even at the highest grits, or you know, whatever the highest, like number 5 and 6. I'll use it for those, and I haven't seen, like, it's not like the pens are like they're dull. Like, it looks good. I'm just, we're splitting hairs a little bit and just playing around with stuff, but could be a way. Now, like I said, this kind of tears some of this fuzz off. Maybe I should just use the back side. I don't know. I don't know if one side is better for this type of thing or not. We're just playing. I don't know. Yeah, the material is also different too. Yeah, it's true. It is a little. Yeah, that's actually an interesting point because this is probably going to be more like grabby material than just resin. It's just not as smooth necessarily. I mean, it's abrasive material, so. It definitely was getting better results. I actually tried these out yesterday on a, just a regular blank, and that went a lot smoother. But I only did the top two grits, or whatever, number 5 and number 6. Just something to think about, though. I wanted to kind of share that. It's always fun when you have kind of a aha moment. All right, final step. And actually, I have one other thought that I came up with. If anybody's familiar with applying automotive polish, there are those little like kind of spongy things for like buffing a car. So I have some. Let me go grab one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so you just put this on your whatever drill or whatever buffer, and obviously these things are not particularly abrasive, especially there are some that are meant to be putting on like the swirl remover polishes on a clear coat. I mean, if it was abrasive, you would have swirls all over the place. So some of the highest, sponge things should work, and frankly, you could actually just chuck this. My only issue is if you could find something like this that's like small, like a 1-inch one, you could chuck it into a drill or something and just not even use your fingers. So that's another thought that I had, for polishing, and that one actually interests me even more, because you're not gonna get any kind of like radial swirl marks if you put it into like a drill or something like that. It should work kind of similar to car polishing, where you're actually getting two motions of rotation while you're applying it. So it should be, I don't know. It's nerdy. It's totally nerdy, but this is what keeps me up at night. And I'm not saying you got to do all this stuff. Like I said, you could just use like the blue towels. They seem to work fine. They were good enough, but I like to hone the craft, especially if you can find an answer that doesn't cost money and actually works better, then okay, kind of thing, especially if it just takes a little bit of trying something out and thought. So there it is. It's not, it's not super glossy. I would call it more of like it's not matte necessarily finished, but a little glossy, just not super like mirror-like. And I don't know, I can see some little scratches and stuff. Like maybe if you took it to the buffing wheels. I still, sometimes like those plastic polishes I still can kind of see some stuff, but they generally are so good that it doesn't really matter. But if you really get really close, you know, I can still see some small scratches. So I would, if I wanted this to be like a perfect finish, I would take this over to the buffing machine and hit it with Triple E. But I think this is exactly the same finish. I think I got it about the same as I would get a normal pen blank. So I think that's what we're getting. I don't think that the way I did it or I didn't do good enough sanding, I don't think that's an issue. I mean, it's reflecting, you know, it's just, it's a duller material. Oh, I'm way too close, sorry. Let's just back it up, back it up. You know, I mean, you can see there's a little bit of gloss going on there. Kind of cool looking. And it's interesting because the mica is not like solid. It's almost a little speckled looking or something. I don't know. Interesting. Interesting. Let me get these bushings out of here. We'll go assemble this guy. Another thing that's going to happen with these really abrasive types of blanks, if you use barrel trimmers, it's going to destroy it right away. Like, you're going to have to sharpen it immediately, like possibly after the first the first one. I was able to get through both. I sanded it down to like, I mean, realistically, I think I even hit the brass a little bit on one of them, but so I got it like really close and then used my barrel trimmer, but I'm pretty sure that that thing is going to need a sharpening already. So you might want to just go with the sanding method. I didn't want to switch my lathe over. That's how I usually do those. But Turner's Warehouse has the thing that if you have a disc grinder, they have the little doohickey that I'm pretty sure it just uses a, I want to look at something real quick. Because I have something that goes with the disc grinder. I never really liked it personally. It's not the Turner's Warehouse one. Then I realized part of the reason I don't ever use it is because I don't have the right like bushing things. Like it doesn't work using the using punches. It works using like the long bushing things for barrel trimmers. And I don't have a set of those, I guess. I thought I did, but let me look and see if I can. They have one of those. What I'd look under. Squaring jig. There it is. Squaring jig, that's what it's called. Yeah, so that just holds your punches. So I need to get one of those things. That's way better. What else is there? I'm going to drop you guys a link. So I don't have one, you know, to show you guys, but if you need something and you have a disc grinder, this thing's great. So you would basically just put your blank and you get the punch set, which I think Turner's Warehouse sells that too. I got to see if Chad and Amy are in there. If not, you can get these on Amazon or even Harbor Freight. So you get the whole punch set, which I would highly recommend. If you ever need to disassemble a pen, you're going to need these probably. So you find the right punch, and then this holder grabs the punch, and you put your blank on your punch, and then you can just, you know, but basically what that thing is doing is you're going to use your miter gauge with the disc sander, put the thing that's holding this up to it. That's what Turner's Warehouse sells. And then you just sand it like that, which it's great. The way that I usually do it is I have a disc. I just have like a faceplate with sandpaper. Well, it's got a piece of wood, and then I put a little disc of sandpaper on there. So I have that in the headstock of the lathe, and then I put a punch in the drill chuck. The problem is you're always hitting the exact center, right? So it's super slow and tedious. The thing is, it's super easy to make sure that it's square. You don't have to square fences or do any of that stuff. Your lathe, all that stuff should be square. So that's why I've done it, but it's slow and it's not very fun. Let me get that link for you guys. Hold on a minute. get a link and I'll share that. I'll put this link in the description after after the stream is over. Let me see here. There's Amy. Yeah, you got the punches too. Yeah, nice. So there's a link to the holder. Like I said, I'm gonna pick one of those up because I had this other one, and so let me just show you the other one that I have, and it just doesn't make sense. You'd have to have a specific, there's a specific set of tools that come with some of the punch set, or I'm sorry, the barrel trimmers, and I don't have them, so this thing is completely useless. So, and this is similar somewhat. It's just a kind of a fence type of a deal where you would mount the blank, but on this, basically, this is like the same size as a mandrel. And so, but the problem is you can't use your standard bushings because you need one on the front too, right? So there's these things that work with barrel trimmers that are longer cylinders. That's how you would have to use this, but I don't have those cylinders and I don't want them. So not very good. I'm gonna get the good one from Turner's Warehouse. So there. Oh, what am I doing? I get the pen press. It's pen press time. Okay. Set this guy up. So again, we're gonna put it on a Virage pen kit. Do you know if you guys sell the Virage? You used to, I'm pretty sure. All right, so let's switch. Sorry, I'm just reading some of this chat here. Yeah, things soak up products, yeah. Okay, sorry. I was thinking, reading comments, thinking about stuff. All right, so I'm actually I want to get this thing out of the way real quick because I want to show you guys all the parts that come with the Virage kit if you ever get one of these. Like I said, I like the kit. It's a good looking kit, but it's got a bunch of like extra little parts that when you open this up, you're like, what's going on? But the tube and the drill bits and all that stuff is the same as the Sierra. All right, so and I got to think for 2 seconds here about what's happening. That's not the right one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to arrange these parts the way that they need to kind of go together. Okay, and I'll show you pressing them all together in a second here. Okay, we all know about the ink. That's not a big deal. I'm going to set the ink aside. Okay, so let's make it even more simple. Got things kind of backwards and cockeyed here. Okay, it's kind of backwards to you guys, but I think you get the point. All right, so you've got your like nib section. This needs to be pressed into the nib section first, and then this little guy needs to be pressed into this afterwards. Okay, so that's like I said, there's just some weird things that you got to kind of put things together. And then it basically just goes together like a Sierra once you've done that. And then you've got this guy which has kind of like a step to it. You're going to put your clip kind of, and it doesn't fit perfect or anything. You just kind of loosely stick it over that. And then you're going to press this into the finial or whatever, the cap thing. End cap. Okay? And so you're going to pre-do those steps. Then all you have to do is just press this onto your pen. And then, you know, just like a Sierra, just kind of shove this one in, and you're golden. You're good to go. Okay, so let's get the press going, and we'll get our parts started. So again, first you're going to take this little tiny brass tube, and we're going to press that into your nib. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. Come on. Pop. Jeez. Promise this is the right one. I actually even looked up the steps before. I hadn't made one for a while. Let me just flip this around and just see if it's easier on one end. There we go. Sometimes that happens. And you're just going to go until it doesn't go any further. All right. So we got that one. And then this one, this little piece, there is a little ridge. I don't know if you can see. Hard for me to hold this and do the cameraing. Oh, that's as far as we get. So I'm going to try and slowly creep up. There is a little bit of a ridge. Like one end is thinner diameter. There's like a little ridge that's thinner. That's what's going to go into this brass tube. And you just make it flush with the end. So just press it in. All right, so now you're set there. And at this point, you can put your ink in. And then you just screw this part on. Okay, so we got our nib section, everything's working. And then again, this side, you do have to be a little bit kind of tricky with this. In fact, I think I'm going to switch this around and have, this is the plating. I'm going to put that on this rubber or plastic side of the ram. You just got to be, doesn't matter where the clip, is going, but you don't want to bend anything. Okay. We got that piece together. Oh, did I do that? I think it's okay. Hopefully I didn't do that wrong. Wasn't paying attention. I think everything's okay though. I like that, I think. So now we can press this guy together. There we go. And that's going to be solid. Then you just press your parts together. Might need to do a little bit of pressing. Just be careful with the plating. Okay. There we have it. And it unscrews. That's not too bad looking. What do you guys think? Let me zoom out. Zoom out a little bit. What do you guys think of that? Nice looking pen. And it definitely does feel cooler. Let's check the temperatures on like a normal blank. Just a resin, Lumilite, and something else. Let's get this root beer. We'll get a root beer blank out. Remind you guys about the root beers. All right, so let's see what the temperatures are here. And I also got one that doesn't have the mica powder in it, but porcelain. So let's see if this works. All right, so just as a test, so the desk is 77.5. 76.5 porcelain. Although maybe my hand was touching something, so let's, okay, 76.5 is the baseline, I think. I mean, it makes sense that it's 70. Oh, that one says 76. I don't know if my gun's messed up or 76.5. This one says 76. I guess it's the same. I don't know. It just feels cooler with the touch. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the material. It's not like temperature that I'm feeling. It's more like the surface texture. For some reason, feels cooler. I don't know. Just seemed like it, but not too bad. So what do you guys think about the Virage pen kits too? Oh, let me get on the screen here. So again, you know, compared to, you know, I'm a big fan of Sierras if you just need to knock something out kind of quick. But if you want a little bit of an adaptation, the Virage is nice. You get some slightly different curves on those parts, you know. And the clip's a little bit different. It's kind of got a little round nubbin. Oh, that way, this way. So pretty cool kit. I don't know. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, let's see here. See what you guys are thinking here. Sorry, I'm just scrolling up to see if I missed anything here. Yeah, and actually, Chad just did a video on using that squaring jig too. You guys gotta, if you're not subscribed to Turner's TV channel, you have to subscribe to their channel because they're putting up a lot of good stuff. So a lot of you guys might be subscribed to Chad's channel. But if you don't know about Turner's TV, you need to check it out. I'm going to drop a link to that right now. Because they got a lot of good stuff. Chad's been putting lots of videos up, showing different techniques and all kinds of stuff. And that's where they do the live streams. And so right now they're doing the bespoke, like September is bespoke or custom or kitless or whatever name you want to call it, pen month. So they just did one last Wednesday where they went through, you know, Chad showed all the different tools that you're going to, you know, need, or some of them are like the nice to haves, but then there's like the, you know, what you need to have kind of thing to make custom pens. So, and I think next week he's going to make one. It's going to be a good series. I'm watching them because, you know, I'm not a, I've made a few pens. That's great. But I always learn, like I actually learned something just watching the tools you need video. So I'm always picking, you can always pick up some little thing. Okay. So let me scroll down here. Yeah, the shading is kind of different. You're right. It's kind of, it's weird, you know. Interesting though. You can say this is a ceramic pen. Ceramic, or not ceramic, porcelain. I always get those mixed up. You want both the pens? This one, so this was actually one of those made with those epoxy floor chips. So I'll get you a good deal on these guys, Alex. Not Alex, Brian. I was looking at the chat and I saw Alex up there. Yeah, I'm okay. Coyote just walked by the shop. Mike likes the Virage, nice. Yeah, the custom pen. So make sure if you subscribe to the channel so you get notified of so every Wednesday, I want to say at 2, I don't know. Amy, what time is the live streams? Every Wednesday, I want to say it's like at 2 o'clock or something like that. They do live streams, and then on the clip. Right, yeah. So you can do fountain pens. So I've been doing fountain pens because to me it's easier. There's no measurement needed that needs to be perfect. If you're doing fountain pens, the only thing you need to do is make sure there's enough room, but it doesn't have to be perfect, right, within the body. If you're doing a rollerball, you can make a custom rollerball pen, or even ballpoint, I guess, but you need to have like that tension, like the spring and everything. So you kind of need to do correct dimensioning on those, which is not hard, but it's just to get rid of it. I'm just trying to learn and understand, you know, get experience. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to make fountain pens, but you can make any of them pretty easily. So that's pretty cool. And then the clip, I don't even know how to do that. So I'm anxiously awaiting that. 3 p.m. on Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, Pacific right now time, which would be like Pacific, daylight time, I think. I wish we would all just stay on the same thing. Yeah, the clips are, I mean, I have an idea of how you could do it. It's just, rather than me get on the lathe and mess around and waste a bunch of blanks and time, I'd rather just get some suggestions from people on how to do it, Yeah, 11 p.m. in the UK, that's right. Yeah, 3 p.m. Pacific, sweet. So anyway, guys, pretty cool stuff. So the hybrid blanks, let's see, they're in this pot. I will try, it depends on what's going on tomorrow. I'm not sure what my schedule is, if I'll be in the shop or not. I will try to get these things up either tomorrow or Monday. So we'll see like the demolding, whatever, that'll be first. But they'll be available. And again, all of those blanks. So the Koa wood blanks, we have Koa wood blanks. Again, those were donated by Ken to raise money. He sent those in to me. Those are up on the website. So there's a link to those, and they're wooden pen blanks. They're not stabilized this time, and they're a little bit rougher cut. $25 a piece. I thought let's drop the price a little bit. There may be some folks that were kind of priced out from being able to help on the first round. So $25 for per blank. 100% of the proceeds are going to Maui Strong, the Maui Strong Fund. And there's a link down in the description if you want to go check out the Maui Strong Fund or just donate directly to it. It's a local fund underneath the umbrella organization of the Hawaii Community Foundation. I always forget that. Hawaii Community Foundation, and the Maui Strong Fund is just a fund that's directing, if you donate to that, it's going to the folks that are directly, affected by the fires. So I kind of, that was what I wanted to donate to. So it was kind of the perfect, organization. So all those, whatever we sell from the Koa wood blanks, and then these hybrids that we're going to be adding, 100% of the proceeds will be donated. And we've already raised $1,100 total for Maui Strong, which is pretty amazing. You guys are awesome. A lot of people were thanking me, and I'm like, honestly, it was all the folks that bought blanks. That's why we are, sending money over there. So I appreciate all you guys' support. Let's see here. The other things, the new root beer float round blanks are up on the website, as well as I got a new Happy Fun Cup up. So, and again, these are just $20. I just thought, we'll save the resin, sell a blank if you want to make like a pencil pot. I mean, heck, you could even cut this up and make pen blanks if you wanted to. Whatever you want, kind of cool, fun little project. I like the pencil pot idea, or jar, or whatever you want to call it. I turned one on a live stream not too long ago. I left it just now. We're not pressurizing this, so just be warned. There's going to be bubbles if you have transparent areas, but as much as we try not to, we pressurize these things and we want to get rid of bubbles, it's actually cool looking. So as long as you're not like, oh. You're not messed up about it. It's kind of an interesting little addition, and it turned fine. I had no problems with the one I made, but they're kind of cool, and it's a simple turning. If you want to get into hollowing, I think that just doing a jar or a cup like this is a really great project to start out with, because you can pretty much hollow most of it using just a Forstner bit. So it's a super simple turning. And then, I would recommend if you're thinking about doing hollowing, get the #1 hollower from Easy Wood Tools. It is just amazing for hollowing. It's got a little bit longer, neck, and then it's got the small cutter, so it's smaller than the normal round one. And it's just, it's fun to hollow stuff, and definitely get the negative rake for hollowing resin. It's going to make your life, you're gonna love it, honestly. When all I was using was the standard cutters, I did not like hollowing. I white knuckled it because I'd always get catches. But with those negative rate cutters, I love hollowing. It's just, you just get in there, have fun with it. So pretty fun little project. So let's see here. Okay, so I think that's about it. Do we have anything else to? I don't think so. I think that's all we got. So, does anybody have any questions before we go? I'm gonna while I'm waiting for that response, I'm just gonna put this. Get my pen press. One of these days, I really need to try the Milescraft one. I think, is it the Milescraft? That's the one Chad likes. I like that one. It's cool, and you can disassemble pens. Really, that's why I bought it. They're easy to disassemble, and it makes it nice to be able to just do this on the desk. But I think I might have to try that Milescraft one out. And I will get a hold of you, Brian, and shoot you a good deal on these pens. I'm gonna put my. So I don't know if does it. Let me just toss it out there. Does anybody from the? I don't know if I should put the other two porcelain blanks up. Milescraft. Yeah, no, it's my pleasure to do the fundraisers. Very good stuff, and like I said, thank you to everybody that's bought. I mean, it's been nuts. We sold out. We pretty much sold out like the first day on the first fundraiser, which $50 pen blanks. That's I was like, I don't know where to put this because I want to make money. You know, I want to maximize how much money we can send, but you know, it's pretty high. So, it used to be, yeah, YouTube always changes stuff. All I've been doing is the live streams though, and shorts. So I just haven't had time to make videos. So that might be why they're just kind of, they're like, he doesn't have a video, so whatever. I don't know, just, you know, make sure to hit the, one thing that can help if you haven't done it yet on YouTube, if you really want to make sure that you're getting people's videos, just, you know, obviously make sure to subscribe, but make sure to hit that notification bell. Also, I know it sounds kind of silly and everyone kind of says that on YouTube, but that will help make sure that you get notifications when people go live and do stuff. It should. It's not 100%, but that definitely will help. So if you haven't hit the little bell icon, that will help you get notified when things happen on any channel. So hopefully that helps out. All right. I think I'm gonna shut her down. I'm not seeing any questions or anything like that. So I think, so next week, I'm not sure what we're gonna be doing. Oh, one little quick little thing. I know this is kind of the end and we probably, people are dropping off, but one thing about the fountain pen filling, and I was originally gonna put the shimmer ink in the Nautilus pen. And then we kind of said, oh, I don't know. Nikki was like, yeah, I don't know if you want to do that because you can't take it apart fully. So what I decided is I'm actually going to go for the Atelier Lusso. That's what I'm going to put in there because the ink that I bought, the shimmer ink, is kind of like a peacock kind of colors, which I think is going to actually match that Atelier Lusso pen. And I would have filled it, but I'm waiting. I ordered a broad nib from Eric. So it came with a medium, and I actually have never used a broad nib in the first place, but the more ink you can lay down with that shimmer stuff, the better it's going to look. So I thought, get me a broad nib, and then we're going to ink that thing up and see how it goes. So it should be pretty fun. Yeah, Carrie, ask away. I'll try to answer. I kind of know enough to get through stuff with the 3D printers. I'm not super knowledgeable, and I just kind of I learned enough to get what I need to get done, but there's definitely smarter people with more knowledge. But like I said, I'll definitely try to answer. A good 3D resin printer. Honestly, they're all good. That's the one thing that as far as I can tell, it's more about how big do you want it. I don't know of one that's kind of like a fairly well-known, like the Elegoo's are good. Any Cubic is good. I'm trying to think. Those are the two big ones that I know of. Let me just type in. I'm gonna. I wish Resin 3D printer. I'm just looking at different. Someone I know has the Halo or Halot. I'm not sure what that is. How you say that? I mean, I'm just, yeah. So I mean, for the most part, it's like what's coming up is Anycubic and Elegoo, and those I'm happy with the Elegoos. There's really just not. Oh, Halo's the Creality. Yeah, Creality is a good brand. I don't know specifically if the Halo one. It looks like a Elegoo to me. They all look the same. Like, and here's the other thing: is pretty much most of them are all using like the same internal components. They just kind of have like different build plates, and they look different. So, I think that within your budget. One other thing to mention also about 3D printers. So they just keep coming out with new versions of them. So like I have the Elegoo Saturn. This is like the I think the version 1 of the Saturn. And I think they might even be on like the Saturn 3 or something like that at this point. Saturn Pro or So I think there's actually been at least 2 newer versions which have higher resolution and then probably has like maybe a bigger build plate or whatever. And then I have the Elegoo Mars 2 Pro. All right, and at this point I think they're about to release the Mars 4 if I remember correctly. So there are a ton of different models when they were made. And realistically, they're all good. Like they're like, oh, it's 8,000, the 8K, resolution now, and all that. Like, and they're better. But like, how good do they need to be? Because these things do really well, and they're not particularly like the most amazing ones on the planet. So, I think that my suggestion or my recommendation would be to maybe just look a little bit online and see if you can find like in like a Resin 3D printing forum or something like that, or on Reddit maybe. See if anybody has any recommendations, but I think that as long as it will print what you want, and think about like, because you can print many things at once, right? So think about how much you want to print, what your budget is, and maybe don't get one that's like the first generation from it's like 5 years old or something like that. But you don't even necessarily need to get the newest thing on the planet to get really good results. They all do pretty well. So, and they all are pretty much work the same way. So like the ease of use, it doesn't matter which one you buy, they all work effectively the same. So I think that you're good to go either way. Yeah, there's so many versions. Yeah, well, but you can use the lychee, whatever. You can use any slicer. You can, and so you're gonna have to learn. I mean, there is definitely a learning curve, and so you're gonna want to go out and start watching videos. One channel that I would highly recommend is, let's see here, Uncle Jesse. He's got a really good channel for 3D printing stuff. So I would check him out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like offhand. So if you go back to I've done videos on 3D printing stuff. Let me go and find. I link to the things that I use to learn in there. And Uncle Jesse was one of the channels. That's not what I want. I want to view my channel. Oh, hold on a minute. Go to my channel. I think I have a 3D printing playlist. And some of the information might be a little bit outdated at this point with like, printers and different stuff, because it was a while ago. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Gotta get the share link. There we go. Copy. Yeah. Now I will say I find that the Saturn that I have is a little bit more reliable. It just tends to not have failures as much. It's got like a dual, like it's it's a more rigid, robust kind of system. Like the vertical tower part is much more resilient than like this Mars 2 Pro. However, still, having said that, I mean, the Mars 2 Pro is fine. The Mars 3 is a really good one. Also, most people like that. And like I said, it just depends on most of these things. As they get newer, the build plate gets bigger. You might have a taller print area. And then again, once you step up to like the bigger size, it's more expensive, but you can print more things all at once, and it's a little bit more sturdy, I think, in general. So that I don't know. There's a couple of other things, but there's the playlist that I have. Look in the descriptions. I think that I linked to most of the videos, especially on like whatever the first video was. I'm not sure what that was. Yeah, they all say a year ago. Probably in the unboxing and first prints video. Probably in the 5 things you need to know. Those two, maybe even in must-have SLA, resin, 3D printing, safety, washing. That's a really good title. So some of those videos probably have links in the description to other channels that were very useful for me. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Again, the one thing is though, with resin printing, it's messy. There's a lot of cleanup, and it smells. So you're probably not going to want to do it in the house unless you've set up some sort of a exhaust system. There's no way that I would be printing this stuff in my house. So just keep that in mind. Temperatures, they like, resin 3D printing likes to be at the upper end. Like I think they generally like 80 degrees Fahrenheit kind of thing. So warmer's better. If it's too cold, like it's really not going to work. So just be aware of that. There are little heater things and stuff you can do to the resin trays and things like that. Just be aware of that. But again, it smells and it's very messy. There, you every time you're done with it, you got to clean the prints and all that stuff. So just I like to tell people that because it's totally different from compared to like an FDM printer, like the spool style. Like stick that wherever you want. They're fine. There may be a little bit of a kind of a smell to it, but it's not terrible smelling. It just, you might notice it, but it's much cleaner. All right, but you're not going to get nearly the results that you get from resin. So cool. Oh, you got, okay, nice, perfect. So yeah, so good luck with that. It's fun, and it really opens up a lot of doors. You can do so many things. Frankly, 3D printers are awesome because, if you think of like, oh, I need some bracket thing, or I want to make, I don't know, whatever, you can pretty easily come up with and design yourself. Like use like Tinkercad is I'm pretty sure it's still out there. It's free, it's easy to use. So you can design your own little things and print whatever you want. I mean, 3D printing's amazing when you really think about it. So good luck, have fun with it, and hopefully if you're on like Instagram or any of those types of things, I can't talk, make sure to tag me. I'd like to see what you make. It'll be cool. So anyway, guys, all right, I think we're gonna shut her down. I got to get some stuff going on, get some work done in the shop now. But I appreciate everybody joining the fun. Thank you to everybody that's buying blanks for the KOA, the Maui Strong Fund. And I think that's about it. So I think I'll see you guys on the next stream next Saturday, noon Pacific time. And it should be pretty fun. And make sure to go and check out Turner's TV as well, because they got some really good stuff coming up this month. So anyway, I will see you guys on the next stream, and have a great night, guys.